we got to talk about this Will Smith thing because we got to.
What happened?
So we got to.
You'll never let the Will Smith.
No, I'm not.
Go ahead.
I'm not. So so we already know the Chris. The Chris Rock response and all that stuff.
With the stand up.
Yes, and Tony Rock went in and he actually did a full on interview and he kind of said his response of what he was going to do and he did. Now, people didn't really know what Will was doing on his side of things. So, Will's been trying to get himself back into the good graces of Hollywood and stuff, like really by any means necessary.
Not successful as he been.
He's been not as successful as you think he should be, considering. Y'all know he has a movie that's on Apple TV that's getting like Emancipation or I think the name of the movie. Yeah. And it's supposed to be like, it's high critical acclaim. It was a really great movie.
It was a good movie.
But nobody, I'm going to tell you right now, nobody's watching.
Oh, well, first off, that's the first I'm hearing.
Right, and that tells you everything that you need to know.
Normally,
a Will Smith movie,
there was no marketing.
Yeah, if normally a Will Smith movie that would drop, everybody, even if it was terrible, everybody know. We were talking about After Earth. We were talking about After Earth, which was trash,
big time,
and people would talk about that, and people still went to the theaters to watch that movie, and it was trash. And that goes into where I was. It's going to bank that After Earth movie for a second, and we're going to tie that into what we're going to talk about. So, remember when all that thing transpired? Remember when we had our whole thing about our thoughts, like who he should go after to try to, who he should do a movie with? Mm-hmm. Remember we had that conversation, right? And we named a whole bunch of people who he should do a movie.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so who do you do it with?
So, y'all know that, he has Martin Lawrence, they're going to put together Bad Boys 4 because he's the only one who said, I'm still ride with you, more or less. Mm-hmm. You know that. Well, first of all, who do you think who he should have went to resurrect his career or like do a movie with? Who do y'all think he should have done this with? I mean, Martin Lawrence was a good choice. I'm not saying it wasn't, but he's not as high profile enough to get
to put out Chris Rock off the table.
Yeah.
We already know that probably won't happen.
Right, but who do you think he should have been doing or reaching out to do a movie with?
I'm just thinking real quick. They do a movie together. It's called Clapback.
That would be funny.
But
that's a dope movie.
Who would Will Smith do a movie?
Who should he? I mean, think about it.
You know what? Okay, on the safe
side,
side,
who should do a movie with?
Who should he have done a movie with to get his career off the ground?
Well, safe side, I would just literally say Kevin Hart. Everyone loves Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart would have not been a bad choice, but that's not much different than getting Martin Lawrence.
But you know what I mean, though, right? Like someone attached to it. Everyone loves Kevin Hart.
Agreed. I can see that.
To resurrect Kevin Hart wouldn't be able to resurrect his career. I'll tell you that right now.
You thinking like Denzel?
Yeah, I was leaning towards that, but if I had to choose to pick to actually get him a spark and funk, I'll have to say Sam Jackson or...
What about Jamie Foxx?
No, him and Jamie won't get along.
Jamie gonna do his stuff anyway.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah. But Jamie's a better actor than Will Smith. I'll say that. We'll continue.
Question mark, but go ahead.
We've seen the Django. It's a great movie.
I'll have to say Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy would have been not a bad call.
Because they never did anything together. The closest I've ever seen them do something is when they did that little reunion with him, Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence, Wesley Snipes, and they had Tracy Morgan.
Yeah, that's a good idea. They could remake Pluto Nash.
So think about that. So you said Eddie Murphy, Denzel, all that stuff. So I'll recap what I told y'all from the very beginning. So when I said even at the time, the three people who he should have reached out to after this to try to get himself back in good graces was Denzel, Tyler Perry, and Bradley Cooper.
I forgot about Tyler Perry.
The reason why I said that because
I thought about that, but
no. But the reason why I said it, remember I said why? Because remember when everything transpired, who was the three people who went to him?
Them three.
Denzel, Bradley Cooper, and Tyler Perry. But he didn't do that. Bank that for a second. Let me tell you who he went to go try to get help from. Tom Cruise.
Why?
Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is the first person he went to try to help him out. Now, don't get me wrong. On paper, you would think that, oh yeah, Tom Cruise maybe makes sense. High profile, could have done it. Tom Cruise has purposely been bobbleheading Will Smith. What I mean by bobbleheading, I mean he been ducking him, like to the point that he don't even respond to him.
That's sad.
No, it's not.
It's not, but it kind of is, and
no,
it's a deep no.
I mean, it's sad in the sense that Will Smith is
keeps going
after him.
Right, but he keeps chasing after Tom Cruise. Now, think about this.
So what he gonna be in?
No. Think about this. How much sense would Will Smith have been in Top Gun 2?
None.
No, it would have been perfectly good sense.
Really?
What he would have done?
Because this is
what I think why? Because the reason why I said that because it'd have been like watching Independence Day.
Exactly. That's the point. Now you get that because he just Will Smith, one of Will Smith's biggest movies is Independence Day. You can clearly see him side by side with Tom Cruise in Top Gun 2. Clearly, you could have made room for it.
I can see it.
Think about that.
Because
think about two high-profile actors side by side with each other. You think that? First of all, Top Gun 2 was a great movie. I'm gonna tell you right now.
If you
ain't watched that movie,
it's on Prime. I'm gonna watch it later on.
You better go watch that movie. That one is probably one of Tom Cruise's best movies. Better than the first Top Gun. Even the first Top Gun is fire. I'm gonna keep it tall with you.
Oh, yeah.
But how much sense would that have made to have Will Smith and Tom Cruise side by side? And you could have done that, and then maybe flipped and done a third Independence Day with both of them side by side with basically like a back-to-back type deal.
Independence reunion.
But Tom Cruise is ducking. But he went to them first, where you could have went to Denzel, who is just as high profile as.
As sad as it sounds like, he probably just tried to get a white guy just to see if
this is part of the story.
Okay.
Part of the story. First of all,
I didn't think of it like that.
No. That's part of the story. First of all, you didn't ask the brothers. And Bradley Cooper is probably honorary as honorary brothers you're gonna get. No, I'm gonna keep it tall with you.
See now?
Bradley Cooper. And
Sami Zayn.
No, Bradley Cooper, Jonah Hill at this point, and Adam Sandler. They at the cookout. They straight.
That's
now, yeah. By the way, it's a good movie. But anyway, you could have went to them. Mm-hmm. Denzel is just as strong as Tom Cruise as far as like cachet. You could have asked him. You could have asked Tyler Perry, who is a producer, who could have penciled you in something.
You know what? That wouldn't have been a bad idea.
Of course it's not a bad idea.
I could see Will Smith doing the Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry could have wrote a movie. Could have wrote any movie.
Could have been a drama movie.
You could have wrote a comedy movie for him. You could have wrote a drama movie for him. You could have even wrote an action movie for him because Tyler Perry is that good to do it. He's done all of those.
If it had to be, it had to be a drama.
You could have done if you wanted to get it.
It would have been good. I could see him putting him. If Tyler Perry would have wrote it, it could have been Will Smith. What's the chick who played it? Chiaji.
Taraji P. Henson. You could have put a whole bunch of people in this movie. You could have paired so many people with Will.
Now I want to see this movie.
No. You could have paired so many people with Will, but he didn't ask none of them. You asked Tom Cruise, who is ducking. You're gonna like this part. You really are. So, why do you think he went to Tom Cruise versus them? I'll help you because I'm gonna speed this along real quick.
Said it.
No. It's not even the fact because
he's white.
It's not even the fact because he's white versus black, which is I didn't even think about that, but that kind of makes sense, but really doesn't. Think about this. What does Denzel, Bradley Cooper, and Tyler Perry have in common that Tom Cruise don't have in common?
What?
They all produce their own movies, and they all
Mission Impossible.
No. Oscar.
You're gonna like this.
Wait, hold up. It's Bradley Cooper. What they have in common?
What do they have in common? What does Denzel, Tyler Perry and Bradley Cooper have in common that Tom Cruise and Will Smith don't have in common? One big thing and one important thing that they kind of omitted in the article, but super important.
Leave us in suspense. What is it? Is it the Academy Award nominees? I know they many.
Speak.
Go ahead.
What is it?
Denzel, Christian. Tyler Perry, Christian. Bradley Cooper, Christian. Put that on the side for a second.
Tom Cruise is a
Tom Cruise, Scientologist. Will Smith, Scientologist.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Now, keep in mind, Hollywood has a lot of influence from Scientology. Remember I told you about that After Earth movie?
Scientology is a literal.
Remember I told you about After Earth? Mm-hmm. Scientology was kind of behind that whole concept of After Earth. People don't know that, but they were. The movie kind of bombed, but that's where, because it was kind of like it's not really about Christianity. It's more about how things scientifically came to be. That's what After Earth was.
So here's the thing about Scientology. Scientology likes to also be referred to as a form of Christian Science, which is stupid because it's neither Christian nor science. It's absolute ramblings of a madman. I think the man who came up with Scientology was a sci-fi author, and he wrote a bunch of books kind of around this. And I never read any of his work, and I don't think I ever will.
You don't.
But the thing about it is, Scientology is just legit off the wall crazy. There's very little redeeming qualities about it. It is very, very good, and depicting itself as pretty and intelligent, but it's not. It's a literal cult. That's not even. I'm not joking. It's not an insult. It's a literal cult. Stay away from Scientology. It will take your soul to hell. This is not a joke. This is not slander. This is simply fact. I mean, stay away from this. The fact that it's on TV, it's in commercials, and they invite you, say, oh, come look at it. Come see and make a decision for yourself. Don't go at all. Stay away.
This is the kicker behind it, because Will Smith, like a lot of stars who's involved in Hollywood, they're into science, like heavy. Mm-hmm. Now, think about their lifestyles and their relationships and all this stuff. Tom Cruise dated many people, can't hold a wife. Got all the money in the world, cachet, all that stuff, and he can't hold a wife down. Had high profile wives. Couldn't hold him down. Mm-hmm. Because of Scientology, by the way. Will Smith, you see what you don't think that's like coincidental that they're Scientologists versus Christian? You could have went to the Brothers. Forget that. You didn't go to the Brotherhood because the Brotherhood was Christian. That's kind of the problem I have. It's like you chose to go to Tom Cruise because you thought because he's a Scientologist, you're a Scientologist, y'all should be able to kind of collab, get each other back on the ground, right? Instead of going to the people who would have actually been there. Because one thing about Denzel, if Will would have went to Denzel, I'm pretty sure Denzel would have probably said, yeah, we're good.
It's real simple. Brotherhood has never been about skin.
Right. It's about, really, at this point, what is it about?
Brotherhood is all about
cachet, identity, and money. We got that. We got that. But I just thought it was very ironic that he went to Tom Cruise. And Tom Cruise is bobbleheading him. Like, literally, like, ducking this dude.
Well, what I meant was...
He's going to try to put a stop on his career.
No, but that's the whole thing. But
and I won't be mad at Tom Cruise for that either.
But here's the thing. The thing about Denzel and Tyler Perry and Bradley Cooper and some of these other people is that I'm pretty sure they would have been willing to do it.
Yeah, of course.
They would have put their cachet on the line because of I want to help my brother out. It's the Christianly thing to do.
And they shouldn't.
I'm not trying to be funny about this.
No, I get what you're saying. And they shouldn't even put their religion in that position for that, just
but
because you want to get your...
It's not the religion per se. It's because of how their religious beliefs are, it's the reason why that they would respond. Denzel is a very devout Christian. Goes to
yeah.
church in LA, like weekly. We're gonna double back to that part of the story in a little bit later when it comes to the next album we talk about. But he would be willing to risk. Oh well, maybe my career takes a hit or whatever, but I'm gonna do this to help my brother up because of how I feel as a Christian. Because as Christians, one of the things we believe in is help each other. It's bigger than us.
It's a proverb. How great a friend lays down their life for them.
Right. But your Scientology people, your Tom Cruise types, no, I can't do that. I don't want to jeopardize my money. I don't want to jeopardize my cachet. I don't want to jeopardize my standing in the Scientology. Clarify, and keep in mind, he is like one of the top standing people in the Scientology.
Just to clarify, just to reinforce if I haven't made it clear enough, Scientology is just satanic. We clear on that. They have to hear this and they have to know this. Scientology is satanic.
Oh yeah, we know that.
No, I know you don't. Whoever's listening may not know that. Stay away.
Yeah, don't get caught up just because you see a lot of your stars in Scientology. And don't think that Will Smith is not a Scientology. He definitely is. And if you really kind of pay, and I know y'all think that, well, why is that important? It's very important because it kind of controls their outlook and how they perceive and how they govern their regular day-to-day lives. And they have the thing to think that they're above it all. And that's the part that...
I hate to admit it, but, he's just going to have to just... No, I can't even say
it's hard to help
because
him.
It's hard to help
It's hard to help him because with this whole situation that transpired, and I know I keep harping on this because he's too high profile of a person not to understand
what he
did. Be remorseful, change his ways, and get back on track.
Just make a formal apology and make it.
He's a Scientologist.
I know.
See, that's the point. That's the point I want y'all to understand.
Oh, I get the point, but until he made it wrong, it's gonna be like that for the rest of his life. He only gonna God forbid if they do this bad boy movie, it's gonna be fucking hard. But then how long do you think that's gonna take?
Right, because
it's not up to them. It's up to him.
And Martin Lawrence changed his life. He went through a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And Martin Lawrence, the one person who said, "I'll do it for you," he gonna go in the trenches and do it. When everybody basically told him, "Nah, I'm good," but the one person who he asked, but he didn't ask the people who he could have asked. He just asked the one person who he knew would likely say yes. And Martin Lawrence was the one who would likely, out of everybody you could have asked, Martin Lawrence would be likely the one to say yes. But his career is not at that super high point where a lot of these other ones are. Bradley Cooper's still one of the highest rated actors in there. Denzel is still Denzel. Sure. Tyler Perry is one of the best writing, producing, directing people in all of Hollywood.
He's doing something as we speak, Tyler Perry.
Right. He got so many things cooking on so many different channels. He got movies and all this stuff. And again, I'm not saying that these people are perfect people, but you could clearly see the distinction.
No man is.
Yeah, but you could clearly see the distinction.
Here's the thing, Cam. Until Will admits he was wrong, it's going decapitation. It should have been in theaters, but it didn't. It went straight to
right. And this is what I'm so.
Will knows what he did, but it's probably getting in the way of him doing the right thing. But see, my thing is now what we just said. Now he went out of the box. He went to his religion shit. Now, okay, I'm gonna find somebody who's in the same boat as me, not who got in the same incident, who's got the same beliefs as me, and see if they're robbing at this. Now you think Tom Cruise trying to mess up his?
No, Tom Cruise said no. I ain't even trying to have a conversation.
And the effed up thing about it, because all these years I already knew Tom Cruise had that religion, but he never put it to display.
That's not true.
I mean,
he never hid it.
He never hid it. I'll tell you that. He was on Front Street with this.
He's their top promoter. He's essentially their mascot.
Yeah. Okay.
Really.
Okay. I was just trying to sugarcoat him, but
no.
But even with that, I don't blame him for saying that.
No, he has
outside of all this religious
he
talk.
has every right to say no.
Yeah, he has it. That's perfect.
I mean, religion or religion or not.
It is perfectly within his right to say no, and for the reason that he said, he's not necessarily wrong. But if that was really your road dog, if that was your people, even if your people's messed up, it's like if one of y'all messed up. If one of y'all messed up and did something, I'm not going to leave you on the sideline and let you wallow in your mess up. My job and my responsibility is to, if we're boys, my job is to make sure we get you back on track by any means necessary. So if that means I have to take a hit on my cachet, my look, my career, whatever it may be, to get my boys back on track, guess what we're doing? I'm taking that hit to make that happen. Okay. But I'm different. No, and that has a lot to do with my Christianity beliefs, but that has a lot to do with the person that I am.
And this is why I love Cam so much, because I knew this was going to make him, when this story came out. I was waiting to hear this story because I've heard it, but I wanted to see it come out. So let's just clarify one thing, Cam. So basically your issue with... You sound like ice cream for Friday. That's what I'm saying. If you needed $200, I'm gonna take my dough. He's like, look, I need some money. And it would have been like, just hit me back when you get it.
But you pay me in Burger
King cards. Yeah, I had that too.
Come on, Boogie. That's what. Okay, we gonna.
You want me the first or the last person to ask me for some bread?
So now let's paint the big picture here. You got two black people at the Oscars. One shot a joke.
One get hit. We got that part.
Now, to say the least, I watched the Chris Rock Netflix special. Enjoyed every minute of it. It was not what I suspected, but I did suspect for what he was going to say. Now, I will rock with Chris Rock for saying this true line when people really, I was waiting on him to ask why he didn't do nothing. He very clearly, with a state mind, said, I was raised better not to.
No, we're going to say, people don't take this the wrong way. I'm just going to say this word for word, exactly what he said.
Verbatim.
We do not fight in front of white people. Now, it's not the fact of just that because it's white people per se. It's really fighting in front of
the money.
You don't, and I said that. When I said it in the last podcast, I want to reiterate that. I think
if he said the money, that would have landed a little bit better.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, it lands worse. It lands worse only because now you're just associating just them with money as opposed to just people. Either way, it was bad, but that's really, if you're in black household, that's really a lot of the conversation piece. You don't do certain things in front of other races of people. That's how a lot of people were taught, unfortunately. Yeah. Before you got more of the integration of cultures and blending of families. This was old school mentality. I get what he was saying.
Now, your issue is he should have went to.
You go to the people who was in the trenches with you. Okay. Denzel was when everything first happened. He did all this stuff, smacked this dude. Everybody's running to Chris Rock to make sure Chris Rock was cool. But Denzel, Tyler Perry, and Bradley Cooper ran to you and made sure you were cool. They were in the trenches for you. They were putting their image and everything on the line at that moment in time. When everything transpired, they didn't think about their cachet and all this stuff. All they thought was, let me make sure this man's right. They didn't run to Chris Rock first. Yeah, they ran to you first. Why? Because they easily could have went to Chris Rock and said, you're okay, like everybody else did.
And the sad thing about that
they went to Will and made sure Will was straight.
And the sad thing about that night too, and I hate to admit this, nobody even remember who won that damn Oscars that night. Because out of the first history of being black, Danny Glover won that night.
There's a lot of people.
Questlove won that night.
There's a lot of people who won who you wouldn't. That whole night is shot. Think about the Oscars this year. You know,
put the icing on the cake, it was a black person directing the Oscars.
That's the other thing. Now keep all this in mind. So this
a brother Victor, think about it.
Fast forward this year. One movie won everything. Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Ironic.
Don't get it wrong.
Not a bad film.
Don't get it wrong. Great movie.
One Oscar won everything.
But one movie. One movie. Everything.
But no, that's not what I'm laughing at. The way Cam said it, that's what was funny.
But think about this. Angela Bassett, who just won a Golden Globe, by the way.
Yeah.
Who probably should have got her first Oscar for Wakanda.
No, she should have been got it.
But she could have got it for love. She should have got it.
She should have
got it for What's Love Got to Do with It. But that's a different conversation. That was before.
Well, I already knew why they didn't want to get it.
Well, we already know that too because again,
We'll
speak the truth. Speak the truth. Shame the devil. They wasn't giving black people Oscars out at that time, even though she was well deserving. Be it as it may. You fast forward.
Sure, I would have given the Oscars for her doing her part in Vampire in Brooklyn.
Nah. She was great, but nah.
I wouldn't say that was Oscar worthy.
Nah, but Waiting to Exhale, and What's Love Got to Do with It was.
That was Oscar. You know
not Vampire.
Yes, it was.
But
I'll fight y'all for that.
But for this movie, where she really
she
could have got it for Wakanda.
You know what? Everybody on that cast should have got an Oscar. Even when he
but
too.
for Wakanda, she should have got that Oscar. But they wasn't going to give it to her because you want to know why? Will Smith kind of messed that up too. He doesn't understand the residual effect of what he did.
Set us back 200 years.
He set us back about 20 though. 20. He didn't set us back 200, but I guarantee you the Oscars ain't going to look at us. So you know what they're going to do now? They're going to start to bypass black actors and start looking at other cultures. This year was Asian. Next year will be somebody else. This is what they're going to start doing now. And don't think for a second that they don't factor all this stuff into.
Well, for real quick, for a good reason.
For a good reason?
Yeah, no.
That's what I thought he said.
That's why I did so bad.
Raisins.
For a good minute,
Asians have been on the rise in terms of entertainment in the West.
Yep.
In just all forms, in both drama, music, animation. It's everywhere, and it's almost everything.
You want to know why? Because they don't do they don't do things more or less.
No, I'm gonna just keep it 100. They don't do things.
They don't do things.
I'll say that with content online. They don't. Asian people do not mess up their money.
They don't do things visually to put other brands in jeopardy to mess up the money.
Asians don't do quote unquote ghetto.
Right, because they try to live high profile.
Mm-hmm. Even if they can't, it's actually very
right. Which will bank that part of the story. It goes into a little side story. Speaking of people who messing up other people's bags, so I remember the Kanye West and he lost the whole deal with Adidas, right? Now, Beyonce had a deal with Adidas too.
Right.
Yeah, so they both had a deal. They basically had a deal together.
What was her deal?
So she has a clothing line, shoe line, just like Kanye did. It wasn't as high profile, but it was there, and she was making a good amount of money. She lost that deal too.
Why?
Because of Kanye West.
Okay.
No, because we
door's locked, right?
No, we alright. Ain't nothing gonna happen. Ain't nothing gonna happen.
We live right now.
Yeah, we ain't nothing.
Yeah, live fire.
Yeah, ain't nothing gonna
trust
happen.
me, ain't nothing gonna happen. I will meet you, dog.
Yeah,
right,
ain't nothing gonna happen.
Anyway, so
she lost her deal
because of Kanye.
Yeah. So because the Kanye deal fell through, she lost her deal too. So they had to cut her off because they don't want no blowback. Because people don't understand that when you're so high profile, your actions affect other people, even in high profile positions too.
You messed up the church's money.
More or less. And so that's what it's coming down to. Because that's why I said both of those stories kind of tie in one to another. Because what you understand is one person don't just affect just themselves. It's bigger than them.
And you know what? I'm so glad you clarified that line right there is bigger than us. And we said this before in the other podcasts
Yes.
and episodes. It really is bigger than us.
You gotta understand that. If you understand that your decisions don't ever just affect just you.
Well, I mean, okay, so like a prime example is we take our jobs at work.
Right.
Right. You know, if we're not there or we're late, especially with certain ones of us, they're gonna feel it.
Right.
You know, like Paul, when you take your days off, you know, because you're resting and whatnot, they feel it. You know, Cameron, when you're when you decide you're gonna go in a little bit late, you know, because we out here shooting,
Right.
You know, they already start panicking.
Right. They're in panic mode.
My point is you're right. It's just your decisions, even as simple as either go or don't go, it's gonna affect them.
Well, I'll say this, and I don't care who it is. Imagine if me not being there anymore.
Right.
That's gonna be great.
Exactly.
Right. But even with that being said, it's like, look, it's bigger than us.
So
Because
now to put that in reverse.
Like I said, I tell people, y'all think that, well, Cam, you know, Mr. Nerd Boy Fresh is special. I ain't special.
And neither am I.
Oh, man.
I'm just a regular person.
I told y'all, I'm just a simple man with a complex plan.
I'm like a son. I'm 18.
He's like Mega Man.
I'm 18 with a bullet, baby. But
That's what I'm saying.
at the same time,
but I understand it's like
it's how can I say this? It's a respect thing.
right, and I get it.
You get enough respect enough
But
to the
when
point that people understand. People watch your hustle and know your hustle.
Yeah, but when you get higher, bank that statement. When you get higher up, the more eyes are on you, the more responsibility you have, the more people you affect. We got 50 subscribers, so we affect ultimately 50 people, right?
I ain't even said the right number.
52 subscribers, so we affect.
Get it right.
So we affect 52. So we affect 52 people.
Thank you.
Sorry, my apologies to the two that I missed. But we affect at least 52 people, and the more who hasn't really subscribed yet, and if you ain't like to subscribe and share the page, we would appreciate it if y'all did that.
I'm gonna say we gonna find you. I thought you were gonna say.
We appreciate if y'all did that. I ain't gonna say we gonna find you.
But the way he was going, I'm like, whoa, Karen, what you saying? You on a fire? You on a fire?
But it's bigger than just us as an individual. You gotta understand, the bigger you are, the more residual effect that you go through, which goes into.
Well, you know how it is. Bigger the mass, bigger the splash.
Which goes into the next story, we gotta talk about.